Welcome back to the Charlotte Legacy League, where we have green-white lands versus Boros Painter. A huge thank you to the Patreon supporters who are helping the league and YouTube channel. If you would like to become a supporter, please click on the link in the show notes. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Back to another match of Charlotte Legacy League, where we have green-white lands being played by Nicholas this time as opposed to me, so I get to see how someone else lives with this deck. Pretty excited to go through this. Both players have kept 7. Nick, as you can see, is on the play. So Killian is one of the original players from the Charlotte Legacy League, and he graces us with his presence every once in a while, and we are very excited to have him back again today. Nick has been with us for a little over a year now, and he is the one who controls our Power BI for our write-ups. So thank you very much, Nick, and Killian as well, for playing with us today. So leading off on a Smuggler's Copter from Killian, which hasn't been seeing a lot of play lately in Legacy. Of course, it was banned out of Pioneer, and just pointing out that he is tapping his Dark Depths, which does work with the Yavimaya in play. So I spoke with Nick about this because this was last week, and him and I actually played this week, and he went over a couple things in this match that I noticed as well when I was editing it. So when we get to those pieces, I'll be sure to point them out, as he found them very important as well. So he's got a Life from the Loam here in his hand. I don't really think it's something he wants to be doing right this moment, mostly because he doesn't have any acceleration to really gain any advantage with his Life from the Loam. So, as most, sorry, my throat still isn't that great. But we got a Painter on the battlefield. It's going to power up this Copter in just a second, and I'm sure we'll see a swing here. The color is blue. Oh, so what I was saying was, loaming right here isn't ideal just because it is, he has no acceleration. He has lands in his hand. So it's not like he really needs to do anything else but except find acceleration, unless he's looking for something in particular. He does have the Beseju, so I really don't know what he would be looking for here. Again, I'd be wanting to do some acceleration, find a crop rotation. Nothing worse than using your mana for, or dredging your crop rotation when you could use that to make a 20/20 and try and move a little faster. So Beseju onto the Thopter, which isn't not on Thopter, but onto the Painter, which does make sense in this instance. But the Thopter is the one that's giving him the most range at the moment, because he's able to essentially draw 2 cards a turn as well, swing in for 3. We're going to see an Imperial Recruiter for another Painted Servant. The Thopter is going to get powered up, and we're going to see it attack again for 3. They're just discussing that even though he is Maze of Ithing and not taking any damage from the Thopter does happen because it's an attack and or block trigger. So he is attacking with it, and I don't know what's happening here in particular because it would just be a 1/1 on the ground. So nothing's going to happen. We'll just tap some mana and didn't do anything else with it. But yeah, the Thopter does have flying as well, and 3/3 and a loot ability. So very strong card for a deck that wants to put cards in the graveyard. I can't imagine like a Reanimator deck wanting to play this, just because it's not that great. It's 2 mana and you got to power it up with a 1 mana thing. But it could be something that does potentially do something if someone wanted to do it. But I don't know enough about that kind of deck to do anything. So we got another Loam coming with a Wasteland, picking up the Beseju as well. So at least he does have ways to deal with these artifacts. If I were him, I'd be Besejuing that Thopter as fast as I could. Here comes an Urza Saga, so that can be Wastelanded next turn without too big of a deal. But the damage is really being done here by the Thopter being able to be powered up and attacking for 3 to get that loot ability. So now we've got an Engineer, so now we can stack up, and he has Bosby as a combo, I believe, available to him. Grindstone in the graveyard, Painter in hand, just needs to get that Engineer through for a turn, so he can activate it as well. So we're going to attack with the Smuggler's Copter. Probably going to see it get mazed, but again, he's going to be able to at least loot at this point. So Thopter, he does attack with the Imperial Recruiter as well. You noticed that after, but not a big deal. Pyroglass goes away, so a little less protection for the Painter if it does come into play. But Killian is setting up for a great turn 3, turn 4. I don't know if it'd be turn 4 kill, but 4 mana in play. It would be ideal here. So another Dredge, move past Saga and some other shiny ass card to get that loan back. Still not really working with anything in particular here. We're going to see the Saga get wastelanded. And he still hasn't chosen to Beseiju that Thopter, which I think would be a great idea at this point to get all artifacts off the battlefield. We're going to go for a Loam. We still have a chance to Beseiju here. So we'll see if he does that. But I probably would have Beseiju'd and then Loamed to get that Beseiju back. So he can at least keep putting pressure on artifacts that are in play. Alright. Another draw from Killian here. We can see that Thopter get powered up. Loot again. Get a Painter on the play. And really start to put some pressure onto him. Alright. Thopter's going to loot. Let's see what we can do here. Another fetch land. We got a fetch land. One fetch land discarded. One fetch land goes get a mountain. And then we've got a Phyrexian Dreadnought. Is that a Phyrexian Dreadnought? A Phyrexian guy. Sphere's too late in this turn game. There's the exploration we've been looking for this whole time. And a Mox Diamond. So 2 cards that weren't really that great right now out of the way. But missed on that crop rotation, or exploration, I should say, to try and close this game out as fast as he can. He's got basically a turn to figure this out. And with that 2 artifacts in play now, he's not really going to be able to do anything. So this is an interesting spot where like that Retrofit Foundry is just basically a dead card here. And luckily, Killian doesn't have a welder where he could weld out that retrofitter for like a Mox Diamond and basically blow up the retrofitter and the diamond, or he could swap the Mox Diamonds in the graveyard for the one in play and get a potential discard out of it as well. So some pretty interesting lines if the welder were available as opposed to the engineer. Trying to decide where to place this Beseiju, I believe, at the moment. So he's going to go for the Thopter here, which Killian will gladly let go. Damage has been done. Picks up another mana. Now, the downside to that is that Engineer is online to move the Grindstone into play or a Painter into play. So if he moves the Grindstone into play at end step and then picks up another land from Killian. So end step, we're going to go for cycle that out. Go get a Grindstone. He's going to allow that to happen. It does still have Beseiju. Let's see how he wants to play this. So you can Beseiju it again. Beseiju, go get another land for Killian if he has one more basic. He does not back over. Alright, what can we do here? We got a Painter coming into play. Everything's blue. Not quite enough. We got a Pithing Needle. I imagine one name Beseiju who endures. So that no longer is going to work. So attack for 1. No fast way to kill anything. The only thing he could do is if he has a crop rotation, or if he draws a crop rotation at that particular point, he can blank the engineer. So we're going to see a loan for 3, and Ghost Quarter is not going to do it. Ghost Quarter, Dark Depths, and an Ancient Tomb. Immediately just going to fire this back off, but the Beseiju's offline now. I think that's probably going to be it from Nick. Just a deck that didn't do exactly what it needed to do, didn't have the acceleration aspect of the deck coming together for him. So he was just playing some land drops while Killian was building his board state. You can only stall him for so long if you don't have a way to actually work through their deck in terms of killing them fast. Stalling them is not going to do it if you can't close the game. Nick's just trying to work through what he potentially could have here. Life from the Loam something, but at the end step, he needs... I don't think there's anything he can do here. He needs a Bog. The Crop Rotation Bog is the only thing I think that would get him out of this. He's going to Pyroblast the Loam anyway. With the Painter in play. So even a Crop Rotation wouldn't have mattered there, with Killian having the Pyroblast for the Loam. We move to Killian's instep. Drops the Needle into the graveyard. Activates the grind. Oh no. He doesn't even need to do that. He could just actually move the Painter to the graveyard at the end step, bring the Grindstone in. Next turn, activate the Grindstone, move the Grindstone out, bring the Painter in. And if Nick doesn't have an answer for it, which I don't think he does because Killian Pyroblasted the Life from the Loam, which had the Seiju that he's been playing this whole game. It's going to hit the plateau, but I think this game is wrapped up here. Not much else can happen. Needle gone, Grindstone back. Showing us the Karakas and the Urza Saga. See you in game number 2.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.
Game 2. Both players on 7. Nick on the play, leading off on an Urza Saga with no acceleration. That's a little scary. We've got a Painter incoming in just a moment, and there it is. So... turn 1 Painter and a Petal versus a turn 1 Saga. Let's see how Nick is able to turn this around and maybe get out ahead of this. He does have double Wasteland with a Plowshare, so that is a plus. No mana at the moment to cast said Plowshare, but he does have a Riftstone Portal in his hand. So if he's able to at least get that Riftstone Portal into the graveyard, that's something that will definitely help him produce some mana. So it looks like he's just going to toss a Wasteland at the Ancient Tomb, and we're just going to see another turn pass. Killian picks up his own Saga with the Petal. If he can find a Smuggler's Copter or something like that, like we saw in Game 2, or Game 1, we could definitely see maybe a repeat of last time. Killian plays his own Saga, takes up to 1, and... we got something happening here. 2 mana, and we do have the Smuggler's Copter. Alright, so Copter is back in play. Pig Needle would stop that, as well as a few other things that Nick has in his deck. We're going to see him float a mana, get a Mox Diamond, pitch that Riftstone Portal, so that is all coming together for Nick here. He's got one more mana. He's got 1 mana floating, so we've got a white mana and a swords on the Painter. Oh yes, a Monkey Blast. So love to see those, especially when they're tapped out, so it's pretty cool. And then we've got a Wasteland taking out the Saga back over to Killian. But with that Smuggler's Copter in play, it's going to be very difficult to... well, I don't know if it's going to be difficult. He does have another Swords of Plowshare. There's not another red mana in play at the moment. And if he has another Monkey Blast, then he can stop another Swords of Plowshare. Let's see what we got coming down the pipeline here. Is it land? Yes, it is. Great Furnace is in play. And back over to Nick. Picks up his another Swords of Plowshares. So that's 3 Swords of Plowshares. So he can burn that on the Painter, and now we're back into a little bit of a safe zone for Nick at the moment. Smuggler's Copter turned off until another 1/1 comes into play. No acceleration here still, but he can at least get a mana or something going along those lines. Finds a Maze of Ith and plays it. Now, it does also work for with Riftstone Portal, so it does produce 1 green or 1 white mana. Imperial Recruiter going to get a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. The Smuggler's Copter comes into play, Killian going to activate that copter, and let's see what Nick wants to do. If he wants to burn that other Swords to Plowshare. Killian just reading over it, but Nick pointing out that there is a Riftstone portal in the graveyard, which is important because at the moment it would look like he couldn't do anything, but another Swords on the Thopter. 3 swords gone. Killian only has to work through 1 more of those and find a way through the Besejus. That was all in step. Nick has the Loam in hand now. He can definitely get Wastelands going again, which is be a smart play at the moment, as they're both top decking for the most part. And Nick can at least Wasteland off the Tomb, and then Killian's going to have to play a little bit slower there. So, Tomb gone. If you're a Recruiter, untapped. Draws a Karn. See a swing for 1. Back over to Nick. He's going to be able to Wasteland this other land. It has a crop rotation as well, so he could actually really start pulling ahead here if he wants. So it looks like Nick's going to take that chance and fire off that Wasteland, putting Killian with no cards in hand. Killian finds a Painter, another attack for 1. Mazavith handles it, and so in this particular instance, this is where you don't really need to dredge. And the reason why is he is in control of the board state, and just taking a natural draw would be better than loaming here, because he has 3 lands in hand as well as a crop rotation. So if he were to have picked up an Exploration off of that, which it looks like it was the second card down, then he'd be in an even better shape to utilize that loam in 2 turns. So taking natural draw steps as opposed to loaming when you don't need to is definitely something that you need to practice and know when to loam and when not to loam. And it's taken me 3+ years to figure that out, and still even times I mess it up. So there's something to be said about that. Soul Guide Lantern is going to take out probably a Wasteland here. Nope, going to take out the Beseju. Alright, that makes sense too. So he does have this whole guide to just eat the loam when he tries to go for it. Nick does have the Pithy Needle in hand, so he could name the Soul Guide Lantern when he brings it into play. Nat draw, roll up to 3, make another construct, and then he could play. They can make a construct as well as go get like a needle or another 1-drop, maybe even a Mox Diamond. Alright, we're going to see the Soul Guide Lantern go ahead and hit the graveyard, which is interesting because Killian's playing around the Pithy Needle that's actually in Nick's hand as opposed to in the deck. I don't think I would have pitched the Saga there for a Mox Diamond. I just feel like that's pretty rough. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. And I guess that was enough for Killian. Welcome back to game number 3. Both have kept 7. Killian on the play this time, leading off with a Welder. Let's see if Nick has any acceleration here, or if we're going to be just doing single land drops again. Alright, so we've got a stage in play. So it looks like it's going to be single land drops. Pass over to Killian. He's going to attack for 1 after he draws, and then play a Saga for his turn 2 land. Nick needs a Wasteland quick or something along those lines to get rid of that Saga before it takes over the game. No Wastelands in hand. Do see a depth, so looks like he may be trying to go for a fast 20/20 here, perhaps. And I'm not quite sure what that artifact is on the left-hand side. If someone in the chat could help me out with that, I'd greatly appreciate it. It looks like either like a candy machine or something. I have no idea what that thing is. Some sort of scroll or something. Looks like it may have turned off the painter, though. Or not the painter, but the welder. So that's, I guess, a plus. Saga's on 2 now. Killian has to decide if he wants to try and just win this thing next turn with a painter and then go get a grindstone off the Saga, or if he wants to go for a construct beatdown plan. He's trying to make that decision. If he does have the painter, he does have 2 blasts in hand, so he can at least protect the painter for 1 turn. Alright, Painter's Servant is the play there. Everything's back blue. And we've got a Force of Vigor, pitching Loam, going for the Painter and the Saga. So red blast on the Vigor. Note, Eternal Weekend red blast, revised red blast. It's Killian's pickup from Eternal Weekend. He went all out to get that thing, and you can really tell. So Seiju being channeled is going to go after the Painter again, and it is out of here. So Welder's turned off. I guess we just make a construct here, perhaps. Yeah, we are making the construct. We get to go get a 1 mana, and that's going to name Thespian Stage, and then we'll see another Saga come into play, especially since that Loam got thrown out for the Vigor. He doesn't have to be as concerned about the Loam getting back that Boseiju. So pluses and minuses to all sides. We'll see a Tabernacle come into play, and it looks like a Bojuka Bog as well. Bojuka Bog knocking out some artifacts in the graveyard. Painter gone. But if he's able to find another Painter, he does have the Grindstone coming. Tabernacle paying for both creatures. Another land in hand will make that Saga sing during Nick's end step. Another construct, and looks like we've got 4 damage coming across. But he nicked down to 9 or 11. I can't count. Wasteland, take out the Saga, which may be too late at this point. Dark Depths into play, 10 counters on it. But the stage is turned off currently because of the Needle. The Seiju is not able to get out of the graveyard. Force of Vigor was blasted, and Killian going to pay for all 3. Killian now on the beatdown plan. He's got one more. Nick's got 1 turn to figure this out, so I don't think it's going to happen for him, unfortunately. With the stage turned off, Sagas take too long. No Time Walks available in the deck. No way to Wasteland or Loam. Everything out of there. So even if he were to, there's another Engineer. All right. I don't think this is going to do it. I'm pretty sure he just drew a Maze of Ith, which, with all those creatures on the battlefield, doesn't matter at this point. Maze of Ith it is. Handshake. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.